Calling the police on your ex. Some say it's the right thing to do, others are lying. G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA. Now if you love today's bloody spicy story, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie and get ready for it. It's pretty crazy. Thank you. Am I the asshole for calling the police on my ex? So my ex, 35, had custody of our daughter, 9, until I discovered that my ex was neglecting my daughter by using drugs and living in horrific conditions. I won custody of my daughter when she was 7. Her mother was a heavy meth user for a long time, I came to find out. She hid it from nearly everyone, and of the time I suspected it, I didn't have proof until I came across video evidence of it on my daughter's tablet. During our custody battle, my ex got clean. I was very happy about this, as I wanted my daughter to have her mother in her life. My ex got a job making good money, moved away from her abusive meth head dealer boyfriend, and was finally trying to make something of herself. Well, the last few months, my ex was finally allowed unsupervised visits. Every visit, there was a ton of drama. She was late picking up our daughter, 16 hours late once. She slept for 24 hours straight, leaving our daughter to fend for herself for food. Our daughter had to call her grandma to pick her up because she couldn't wake up mummy. She lost her job due to being sick. She constantly has an excuse for why she's late or unavailable. She once had a friend bring my daughter back in a car that had a breathalyzer in it to keep it running. I discovered this guy had 5 warrants out for his arrest due to meth. This last visit, however, is where I think I might have been the asshole. My ex was 4 hours late picking up our daughter, yet again, and then had a 2-hour drive back to where she lives. I checked my daughter's phone GPS to see if she had made it to her mother's safely, only to discover they weren't even halfway there yet. Her mother stopped at a random gas station off the interstate for 2 hours and left our daughter alone in the car. I couldn't believe it when I talked to my daughter on the phone. So of course I called the police to do a welfare check. And before the police could arrive, I checked with my daughter again to see if her mother had returned. She had. I relayed this information to dispatch, and they still chased her down. All I was told is that my daughter was okay. After my daughter returned from visitation, she told my wife about the incident. And this is where I feel terrible. Daughter said the police put her in the back of the squad car as her mother and car were searched. She was terrified, and that was never my intention. I just wanted to make sure she was safe because I was 99% sure there was some sort of drug deal/use going down, especially with recent behavior. Her lawyer even withdrew from counsel this week after a drug test was ordered. My suspicions are through the roof. So am I the asshole? And edit, some are under the assumption that I haven't fought tooth and nail for 2 years to keep sole custody of my daughter. The battle is still ongoing, but I'm not a mother, so therefore I am treated as less than in family court. Look, at the end of the day, you did the right thing. You're protecting your daughter and you're keeping her as safe as possible. Your wife has a drug addiction, and it's obvious through her actions here that she has no interest in fixing that addiction currently, or at the time of all of these events, and that's not your fault. Neither is that your daughter's fault. You want what's best for your daughter. She was out in harm's way for 2 hours, left alone in that car. At the end of the day, your daughter's well-being is of utmost importance to you. Anything could have happened to her out there, and in any case, this is the best outcome. It ensures that your 2 years of fighting for sole custody of your daughter now swings back into your favor. At least I would assume so. And now your daughter is safe because there is no shared custody. She can't be taken off of your person. I really do hope your ex gets the help that she needs, but, I'm not going to say that she particularly deserved to be arrested and be drug searched, but it happened, and that does happen. From what I can gather, from what you've said, you didn't do this with the intention of her going to jail. But these things happen, and it's not your fault, in my opinion. I'm gonna go with not the asshole. Now in the comments, Neutraligan says, not the asshole. While your daughter may have been scared, her safety comes first. Police oftentimes have events where they do meet and greet with people, but they also get to see a police car and all that. Maybe see if you can replace what she experienced with police with a more positive experience. And OP replies, this is an excellent idea. I hope we can do something like this once the pandemic is under control. Yes, my hometown had an annual fair in the local outlet store's parking lot. The city would bring out a school bus, driver, police car, with the guns taken out of course, but the computer and radars still going, officer, sometimes a puppy in training, fire truck and first responder, so the kids could see them up close and personal and ask any questions they wanted. I admit I was nervous when pulled over for speeding, but when I see a cop on the road or in shops, I'm always comfortable around them, and I credit those fairs when I was young. Also, good luck on your fight for your daughter. Sending you both the best of wishes, and stay strong. Edit to add, please don't try to @ me and talk about police violence, etc. in America. I get it. I agree with the reform that is way overdue. All I wanted was to share a good experience that I had as a POC kid, where my community worked really well and had high levels of healthy engagement with the local police. You don't need to rain on it with the depressing reality facing many across the nation that is already well known around the world. Take your good vigor for the movement and use it where it is actually needed, please. QueenTech6 says, not the asshole. Your daughter may have been frightened, but who knows what could have been going on, or even what may have happened if there wasn't a wellness check. I think your daughter would have been more traumatized by potentially being the only one there if her mother ODs or having to hang out with a bunch of drug dealers / people that are actively using meth. These are very dangerous situations for a child to be around, and I hope that you can get full custody soon and have supervised visitation when your ex is clean again. I'm sure you've already done this, but maybe sitting down with your daughter and talking to her about this situation would help. I know that when I was a child, I had similar experiences, but with my dad. The late pickups, the drug use, and the police. And what always hurt and confused me the most was feeling unloved. I was too young to really understand what was going on, and it scared me. This might be the case for her too. She needs some extra support right now. And also wanted to add, I don't fully remember being terrified of events like you're describing. What I do remember is my mum working so hard throughout my life to be two parents, her effort to provide me with a normal and happy childhood, and also her attempts to make sure I understood these situations as best as I could at that age. Your daughter will likely appreciate this later in life. My dad eventually turned his life around too, so hopefully her mother can do the same and be a part of her life. Hoping all the best for you both. And OP replies, thank you for your thoughtful comments. I've never dealt with anything like this, as my wife and myself are straight-laced. However, I am so lucky I do not have to be both parents, as my wife is the best stepmom, and my daughter absolutely adores her. I guess that makes me even more bitter towards my ex for not even doing this bare minimum when my wife, who isn't even blood, fills the mother role when she clearly doesn't have to. I have done everything I can to support my daughter, yet trying to take away her mother is a very double-edged sword. Look, you aren't trying to take her mother away. Her mother isn't being a mother and took herself away. Don't guilt yourself because the right thing isn't easy. As the child of meth heads and the poster child for neglect, I can say wholeheartedly that your daughter is better off. My parents started using when I was about 18 months old. The police raided our homes. I frequently didn't know when I would see family members next. I ate spoiled food that I had to cook myself. I was able to eat lunch at school because my sister learned to forge my mum's signature. I got baptized so I could eat dinner at my local church on Thursday nights, and none of that compares to seeing my mum's face turn gaunt and riddled with marks. Also to lying about my age so I could visit family in prison. The fear of being the reason that your mum who you can't help but love gets in trouble. Telling people everything is fine so you don't get taken away. Your daughter deserves better than laying down in the backseat of a car every time someone drives up because she's defenseless and terrified of what might happen. Please don't let this happen again. My mum looked like she got her crap together too for a bit when I was a teenager. She just switched to opioids, emotional neglect, and physical abuse. Your daughter is so lucky that she has a capable father and a mother figure that actually loves her. You aren't doing your daughter any favors by preserving the relationship, and she'll understand. If you can afford it, please get her into some online therapy. And you're right to be bitter. Your ex will cry and tell you and the judges that she's trying her best and she loves her daughter so much. It's fake. She might care for her child, but she'll never come first. She will always love the high more. I'm 30 years old now. I've been no contact with my mum for 3.5 years. I'm about to have my own baby, and the only good thing to come out of the 25 years of abuse and neglect I suffered is the drive I have to be the kind of mum I wish I had. And OP replies, "Your comment really hit me hard. The things you're saying I see in my own daughter. Her refusal to tell me anything for fear of getting her mother in trouble. When my ex got clean after the initial case and adjudication of neglect, I was sincerely hopeful that she had gotten her crap together. Like I said in my original post, she had a good paying job, she was clean, hair follicle tested, she dumped the POS drug dealing boyfriends. Her supervised visits with my daughter mostly went well. Of course, I always had a fear that she would fall back into bad habits, but I didn't think after fighting me for 2 years in court that she would relapse now that she won unsupervised visits. I believe you were right, and have also come to this conclusion in the past couple of months. My daughter would be better without her mother. I hate this all the way around." And now on to the update. So it's been since December when the initial drug test was ordered for my ex thanks to the events of several visitations and the situation she placed my daughter in, who is 10 now. The second court date, when my ex failed to show or present a drug test, the court ordered my ex's visitation rights to be suspended until she could provide a negative hair follicle. By the third court date, the judge decided to place a no-contact order on my ex, which was a huge relief. My ex failed to show to the other 5 court hearings after, so it was decided her failure to take a drug test will now be considered a presumptive positive. In the meantime, my lawyer filed a motion for 100% legal custody, as I already had physical, of my daughter, and give my wife power of attorney over my daughter. This was just granted yesterday, especially with an expert witness, my own daughter, testifying against her mother, which I honestly never thought she would do, and my own testimony. My daughter's mother has been MIA since the beginning of December. The last I heard from my ex-mother-in-law, she couldn't even afford to have her electricity turned on. I'm furious her mother has placed so much stress on our daughter, that she has hurt her so thoroughly that my kid said today, off the cuff, that she will never forgive her mother. My wife and I didn't even know how to reply to that, so we just nodded in understanding because she has allowed her feelings. I no longer feel like the asshole. I did it first because of how upset my daughter was. I felt it was entirely my fault. I hated seeing her so upset. I know everything I've done is to protect her from the disaster that is her mother, and I'm extremely disappointed that her mother has just decided to not fight for her kid anymore. Just give up and not even show to court. I have a feeling I won't be hearing anything from her mother. Thank you for all your replies to the previous post. I know many people were pushing for court, which I had already planned, but the court moved slowly. Now you know the outcome. Now in the comments, Forsaken Rain 3071 says, "Just a thought. Run a credit check on your daughter and change her social security number just in case BioMum has it." Yep, and it never hurts to lay down a freeze/block until it's changed. Also, make sure everyone who ever sees your kid gets a copy of the no contact order. It's a bit awkward but important. I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone miss a dentist or a coach and all hell broke loose. Addicts and troublemakers can be incredibly persistent if they think it'll get them what they want. Good work, OP. I'm sorry you and your daughter have had to struggle through this. Luck and health to both of you from here on. Glad you got past feeling guilty. Sometimes doing the right thing feels so awful, especially when there are kids involved. Still, you made the right call. And edit, wanted to add that you should probably get your daughter, and maybe yourself, to therapy. No kid should have to handle this, even one with a good parent. There's a lot to process and she deserves some extra help. You may already have her in therapy and I missed it in the text, so if you did, Godspeed. And OP replies, "I'm hoping many others see this comment so I'm not spam commenting. My daughter has been in therapy since the beginning of this case in 2018. There are many, many details I could not go into on here because it would violate the rules of this sub. My daughter was put through hell beyond the drug addiction issues of my ex. Therapy was a given. Everyone should be happy to know that yesterday was my daughter's last regular therapy visit after 2.5 years. The therapist feels our family has found peace and are moving forward successfully. I'm forever grateful for our therapist because he's been an amazing human who has helped all of us towards a common goal of making sure my daughter can become a success in life. Also that we work cohesively as a family unit. We have left it open, entirely up to my daughter, if she ever wants to return to therapy for any reason. All she has to do is ask. My wife also signed my daughter up for horse riding lessons as a way to help her build her confidence and as its own means of therapy. So far my daughter loves it and won't stop talking about it. Our next post is by user Vera28, titled, "Am I the asshole for going to a pre-planned vacation with my family rather than my boyfriend's mum's funeral? I'm a teacher, so I get about 2 months off every summer, but my mum, sister, aunt, and cousin all work regular 9-to-5 jobs with 2 to 3 weeks off a year, so it's really difficult to organize time for trips where we can all go. We managed to schedule a girls' trip to Cabo from June 1st to 9th, made payments, almost $3,000 a person, several weeks prior to the trip, and we were all very excited to go to Mexico and bond. I'm best friends with my sister and cousin, and my mum and aunt are identical twins, so we are all a very close group. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years. His family lives across the country, so I only see them twice a year, and it's usually pretty quick. No real one-on-one bonding with anyone in his family, but we're all definitely friendly with one another. We like each other's posts on Facebook and Instagram, and send happy birthday wishes. Stuff like that. A few days before we left, my boyfriend's mum passed away unexpectedly. I spent days attached to his hip, supporting him, wrote the email to his work explaining what happened, cleaning his apartment, making sure he ate, called his dad and siblings and expressed my condolences, booked his flight, helped him pack, etc. He asked me to go to the funeral with him. I felt so bad about telling him no. I hardly knew his mum and feel like I already committed myself to the trip with my family. He was heartbroken and begged me to go with him for support, but I told him that his whole family is there, and if anything, it's a special time for them all to recount memories of their mother/wife/sister/daughter. He asked if he gave me $1,500, could you go on the trip sometime later? You have 2 more months off. I know you won't get some deposits back, so I'll give you this money. And I honestly felt so bad. But the thing is, it's not about the money. Although obviously as a teacher, I'm not swimming in money, but it's about how this is the one time a year that the women I'm closest to can go together. My mum and aunt told me, we want you to come with us, but it's ultimately up to you. Whereas my cousin and sister were like, you should definitely come with us. It'll ruin the trip for us if you're not there. Just come, etc., etc. My boyfriend was upset and left mad at me. I called/texted a bunch, but he didn't respond until days later. Anyways, I went to Mexico and came back on the 9th, and things have been weird with us. Sometimes he's really close with me like usual. Other times I can tell he's mad that I didn't go with him. He said he's not furious at me, but just disappointed and sad that I chose to go party instead of being there with him. He says he would have dropped anything for me, and keeps emphasizing that I have 2 months of vacation. But he doesn't get that no one else in the group has that kind of vacation time. I really couldn't reschedule. Now in the comments, MJ's Bunny says, bloody hell, yes you screwed up. Your boyfriend's mother died. Not his neighbor or friend or co-worker, his mother. And as his partner, someone who allegedly loves him, you should have been at his side at this funeral. Your family have come off as incredibly selfish here, so I can see where you get it from. My mother would have been like, goodness, of course you have to go. How on earth were you able to enjoy yourself knowing that he was more than likely having a difficult time? Yes, he would have had his other family around him, but he clearly wanted you to be there. And I can guarantee that the rest of the family weren't impressed with your decision, and it was 110% discussed. Where's X? Why didn't she come? She's in Cabo? Eh? And the fact that he even offered to reimburse you for some of your outlay shows how badly he wanted you there. But you chose other people over his needs. In addition, you went with your mother, which would just remind him that he doesn't have a mother anymore. Personally, this is a deal breaker, and I would break up with someone over this. Imagine if the shoe was on the other foot. Your mother dies and he's like, "Soz, but I'm still gonna go on the bros holiday. We cool though, right?" How utterly selfish and self-centered of you. Ah, you're the asshole. You are so the asshole here, and no one can convince me otherwise. Holy crap, this, 100% this. I've been with my significant other for almost 2 years, and no matter what I had planned, I would drop it in a heartbeat if this happened. All OP seems to care about is her trip. There'll be other trips. This is so much more important than a holiday. Sweet gentle Jesus, OP, you're the asshole. You're the asshole. It's a lot of money to spend on a trip and lose, but your boyfriend's mother died. It doesn't matter how much you knew her. He's your boyfriend. On top of that, he offered money back for your expenses. Granted, not the same amount, but still some. You have all the time in the world to plan another trip with your own mother. Turn the situation around. How would you feel? All I'm hearing from her is, "But my trip." She said that she hasn't bonded with anyone in his family, but as someone who apparently loves him, shouldn't she be supporting him through his grief? And now onto the update. So it's been over a year since my previous post, which can be found in my post history. A lot has changed. I've taken the time to really think about what happened. What I came down to is that y'all were right, that someone's mother dying is huge, and I should have given more support. I sat down and spoke to Jamie about my feelings. This conversation happened about 3 months after the funeral. He said he was upset with what happened, but wanted to move on from the argument because our relationship means a lot to him. I told him I'd been thinking about it, and what it all came down to is that my feelings for him weren't as strong as they should be. If we've been together for 2.5 years and my feelings are starting to fade, then we should take a break. He was upset and crying a lot, but I told him that this would be better for the both of us. This way we can think about what really matters and how much of the past to hold on to, as well as the love that we have for each other. I ended up calling him about a month after that conversation and breaking things off. He's a great guy, and I should have been better to him. Things took a very sad turn for him, and I'll miss him always. I think I could have and should have handled things better than I did. Thank you all. Anyway guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you did like it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, and make sure to just interact with everyone in this community. I love each and every one of you that I get to see on a daily basis. And don't forget, if you are a Patreon subscriber, I love you. You're on the screen right now with the YouTube members as well. If you see yourself, give yourself a pat in the back. You guys help me continue this YouTube journey. You keep me going. I see you guys everywhere. I see your messages, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really love every single one of you. But with that all said, I'm going to be signing off now, guys. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.